How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. So over on the Dixie for the daily, we did see a long upper shadow indecision candle. We tried to push up, but we failed. If we cannot continue forward, we're likely going to see crypto continue up. Remember, usually they're inversely related. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is falling, VWAP is still bearish, trying to reject. Momentum is pulling back, and money flow is bearish as well. Over on the 4-hour, we do have a bit of a consolidation that could be going on after that breakdown. Remember, this could create a bear flag to push us lower. Stochastic is falling, RSI is dropping, VWAP is pulling back with lower highs and breaking neutral. Momentum does want to round, and our money flow is starting to pull back as a result. Over on the 2-hour, our stochastic is dropping away, orange is above blue. RSI is dropping, momentum is weakening, VWAP has lower highs with lower lows, so we have a bearish trend that is bringing that momentum lower and causing money flow to fall. Over on the 1-hour, our stochastic is dropping away. We are pretty flat here. We really can't go much lower. RSI is starting to weaken as a result. VWAP is bearish, momentum is failing. Our money flow is pulling back. Overall, we look like we are favoring bearish, and if the lower time frames do not reverse, it's likely we would see a continued pullback. So over on total for the daily, we did reject the top of our channel. I would exercise caution. We tried to break out the golden pocket and we failed. We are above our previous consolidation range, this bigger consolidation range, so that could be positive, providing we get a strong bounce and continue forward. If we pull back tomorrow, then it's likely we could see this rising channel play out. Stochastic does want to round, RSI is pulling back, momentum is rounding, VWAP is pulling back, and money flow does want to break bearish. Over on our 4-hour, we do have a green dot, but usually they don't always play out, so I would exercise caution. I don't really go on the dots or reversal arrows. Momentum is dropping, we have a double red dot as VWAP does want to reject that neutral. If VWAP continues to favor bearish, we will continue to drop. Money flow is pulling back. Momentum is dropping, so overall the 4-hour does not look very positive. Over on the 2-hour, momentum is weakening as price pushes up. This is a bearish channel. This could end up dropping us down. That is bearish divergence. Stochastic has a bearish divergence as well. RSI is pulling back. Stochastic is dropping. VWAP does want to break toward that neutral, and money flow is pulling back. Remember, bearish divergence can bring you down, but it doesn't have to. They can show up in bullish environments. Over on the 1-hour, stochastic is pulling back, momentum is falling, VWAP is bearish, our money flow is bullish, but if that VWAP gets a lower low, followed by lower highs, we will see momentum continue to weaken and money flow could fall bearish, and that could bring us lower. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we are trying to push forward, so this could be positive. If we zoom out, we are pushing up near our value area high. Remember, continued green candles here can push us up toward around that 56 area. We would want to see some sort of a pullback in dominance if you are expecting altcoins to run up. Stochastic does want to push up, RSI is gaining strength, VWAP is pushing forward, momentum does want to push up as well. If that VWAP can remain bullish, momentum will push forward and money flow will continue higher, and that will push our dominance percentage up as well. Over on Bitcoin futures, we did break that point of control. We did push off that value area low, so that is positive. That's on our fixed range volume profile. If we continue with green candles above this point of control, it's likely we would push up toward the value area high and make an attempt to get our 90K breakup. However, if we reject the 65.5 further and we pull back, we could end up filling the gap. Remember, it would be more ideal to make a higher low here, fill that gap, and then push for higher highs and break that 69K from there. Stochastic does want to push up, RSI is starting to pull back, VWAP is pulling back, momentum does want to reject, and money flow is starting to weaken, so I would exercise caution. Over on our 4-hour, we do have a bit of consolidation above this 300 EMA. So that is positive. That does want to push us further up. Momentum is pushing up, but we have a red dot as that VWAP does want to pull back, so I would exercise caution. RSI is starting to pull back, and that stochastic does want to round. So, top requests in chat. So just dropping that in the chat. So over on the 2-hour, we are struggling to break our 65.5. If we continue to struggle here, it's likely we could end up pulling back. RSI does want to drop. Momentum is rounding with the red dot as VWAP tries to break neutral. If that VWAP continues to push down, momentum will lead money flow lower. Over on the 1-hour here, we are starting to see a rejection of that 65.5 like we saw back here. I would exercise caution. We could end up dropping lower, but remember, if we jump off this gapped area and then continue higher from there, that would be positive. Stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is pulling back. Momentum is rounding. VWAP is pulling back, and money flow is remaining bullish. But if that VWAP gets lower lows and lower highs from here, our momentum will start to round, and money flow would break down. That would result in the higher time frames starting to weaken. And remember, dominance does lead Bitcoin, or futures does lead Bitcoin, sorry. So that could end up bringing Bitcoin lower as well. That's why these gaps are important, because although they are not in Bitcoin, they are in futures, which leads Bitcoin price. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, again, we could try to continue up toward our top if we do continue that bounce on that fixed range volume profile from futures. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is starting to round as well. VWAP has higher highs. Momentum is pushing forward as a result, and the money flow is trying to go from red to green, so we do look positive on the daily. We need that to carry over from the lower time frames here. Over on the 4-hour, we did bounce off the 300 EMA, just like on futures. Momentum is pulling back. RSI is dropping. Stochastic does want to round. Money flow is pulling back as that VWAP is starting to struggle. We have a lower low, and we are starting to reject, possibly making a lower high. If we see a lower high, momentum will fall, and we will drop lower. Over on the 2-hour, momentum is starting to drop away. RSI is pulling back. Stochastic is dropping down. Our VWAP does want to round, and money flow is pulling back. So overall, we don't look very positive. Over on the 1-hour, our stochastic is dropping. Orange is above blue. RSI is dropping. Momentum is rounding. VWAP is getting a lower low, so watch for a lower high. If that yellow wave gets lower lows with lower highs, momentum will continue to drop that blue wave, and money flow will go from green into the red, and we could have a bearish trend then. So over on graph for the daily, we are trying to push toward that 300 EMA, and we kind of got rejected like we said to watch for. This is a long lower shadow candle though, so that long lower shadow could help propel us forward if followed by a green candle. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is pulling back. VWAP has lower highs and wants to round away. Momentum is pushing up, and money flow is gaining strength. Over on the 4-hour, we did push to that 250, made our rejection, and we are trying to bounce off that EMA. That purple EMA, that is positive. We are also pushing on our lowest EMA, that green one. So we are trying to continue to see these lower EMAs break above higher EMAs that could help carry us forward. Momentum is dropping away. Stochastic is dropping. RSI is pulling back. Money flow is weakening, and that VWAP does have a lower low, and we are rejecting for a lower high here, a yellow wave. So as that continues, it's likely we could continue to sell off. Over on the 2-hour, we do have lower highs with higher lows currently. I would watch if we can make a bounce and get a higher high. We could have a bullish continuation. I would just exercise caution because this high is a little lower than the previous high. RSI is pulling back. Momentum is rounding with a red dot as VWAP wants to break down, and money flow is bullish. So I would watch if that VWAP can make a bounce. Our money flow could remain bullish. However, if that VWAP favors bearish here, we will start to see momentum fall, and that will lead price action lower. Over on the 1-hour, we are starting to see our green EMA start to bend. Watch if it breaks and holds below our blue EMA. If that does happen, we will continue lower. Stochastic is dropping. RSI is pulling back. Momentum is rounding away. That VWAP is breaking down after getting a higher high. So we got a little bit of a bullish trend, and now we are pulling back. I would exercise caution. That could end up giving us a bearish trend if we fail to get back over that neutral. Our momentum is rounding. Money flow does want to pull back. So overall, I would exercise caution there. Over on Ankr for the daily, we are trying to continue forward. This could be a long lower shadow candle, so I would watch. That could help propel us forward. Stochastic is pretty maxed out. RSI is pushing up. VWAP is bullish. Momentum's gaining strength, and the money flow is trying to push forward. So if the VWAP and momentum can remain bullish here, we will see that money flow become green and try to push us further up. Over on the 4-hour, we do have a long upper shadow candle. That long upper shadow candle could end up breaking us lower. Momentum does want to round. RSI is pushing down. Stochastic does look like it could start to round after getting that bullish cross. VWAP is starting to pull back after breaking for a consistent high. So watch for lower highs followed by lower lows. If we see that, momentum will break and money flow will follow. Over on the 2-hour, we are starting to push toward that 3079. We did say that was a possibility. We did make a bounce off our 300 EMA, but we got rejected by that 3079. So I would watch. If we continue to reject here, we could end up pushing down to that 2883, and we could see that bearish breakdown toward that 2673 or lower if we're not careful. Momentum does want to round with the double red dot as VWAP is pulling back. Our money flow is pushing up, but if that VWAP continues to drop down and our momentum rolls, money flow will follow and we will see a break of price action. Over on the 1-hour here, we are trying to trend forward, so we do have higher highs and higher lows. They don't connect too well, at least in this little trend right here, but overall in the bigger trend they do, so I would still exercise caution. Our stochastic is starting to pull back, RSI is dropping, momentum has bearish divergence, that stochastic does as well. VWAP is pulling back and money flow is weakening. If that VWAP continues to favor bearish here and we see lower lows with lower highs, momentum will start to pull back and money flow will weaken at blue and green wave respectively, and that will cause price action to drop down. Over on XRP for the daily, we did get our break forward toward that 60-cent area that we said we could see. We did invalidate that little micro pattern, so that is good for us. However, I would just exercise caution. If the rest of the market does not continue forward, we could see XRP start to retrace. We could make a rejection of the point of control that is very close to our value area high though. Our stochastic does want to round, RSI is running up, VWAP does want to pull back, momentum is pushing up, and money flow is trying to break bullish, so we do look positive for a continuation here. Again, I would just exercise caution because we shot up very quick, and remember, a quick move up usually is retraced by a quick move down. Over on the 4-hour, we do have a little bit of fluctuation here, so this is a little healthier of a move, but in this breakup, that wasn't so healthy. That could bring us back down to that 300 EMA if we're not careful. Momentum does want to round, stochastic is running up, RSI is starting to kind of waver around, and VWAP does have consistent highs, but it's pulling back. If we see a lower low followed by lower highs from here, momentum will break, money flow will follow, and price action will drop. Over on the 2-hour, we are trying to hold above that 57,394, so that is positive. If we can continue above this support level, we could see a continued bounce and possibly retest that 60 cent and possibly push up toward other resistance areas. We do have some consolidation around 61, then around 63, and around 64, so very close ranges on XRP. But momentum is starting to round away that blue wave. Stochastic is dropping away. We do have our orange above blue on that line, so that does give us a bearish cross that could bring the red line RSI lower. Our VWAP yellow wave is pulling back and the money flow is starting to head down. Remember, if that money flow breaks, it will go from green to red, signaling bearish pressure. Over on the 1-hour, we are starting to round away. Momentum is dropping, stochastic is falling, RSI is dropping away, and that VWAP is favoring bearish under that neutral. If that VWAP continues to favor bearish, momentum will continue to weaken and money flow will continue to head down. If it flips into the red and holds, we will see those higher time frames start to weaken as well. Finally, for ALGO for the daily, unless you leave any requests in the chat, we are trying to push up toward our 1618 again. Stochastic does want to round though, RSI is starting to pull back, momentum is rounding, VWAP does have higher highs, we are pulling back, so watch if we break neutral, and money flow does want to reject. But if that VWAP bounces off neutral, momentum will remain bullish, and money flow could make a bullish break. That would be positive. Just watch the lower time frames. Remember, they do lead the higher time frames. Over on the 4-hour, we do have a bounce off that 300 EMA, much like everything else. So that is positive. That could help push that daily up. Momentum is rounding. RSI is pulling back. Stochastic does have blue above orange, but it's starting to round. So watch if it rejects. If it rejects here, RSI will start to fall down and bring price action lower. VWAP does have a higher high, but it's very weak and pulling back. So watch if that VWAP breaks bearish. If it does, momentum will weaken and money flow would follow. Over on the 2-hour here, we are breaking that green EMA. So remember, if we cannot hold these lower EMAs, we could end up trending back down toward the 300 EMA here. And if we do not hold those on these lower time frames, we could see those break on higher time frames as well. RSI is dropping, momentum does want to round, we have bearish divergence, stochastic is pushing down, and VWAP is pulling back. That is causing money flow to start to sell off. So I would watch if that money flow becomes red and holds. We will see higher time frames weaken. Stochastic is dropping away. We do have orange above blue. RSI is dropping. Momentum is falling. VWAP is favoring bearish with a lower low. And money flow is pulling back. So overall, I would exercise caution. We could see continued price action down if we continue to favor bearish with that VWAP. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.